Salesforce our source of truth, but we use a combination of HubSpot for marketing. I can say Salesforce, I find it terrible, but it's terrible if you don't have the full RevOps team to work on. It's actual cost and actual speed, and you need both to be much better right now in this environment. The main thing when you're either choosing your CRM is that it fits your current ecosystem. So it's better to lose functionality than go for the optimal solution.
Hey, thank you for tuning in. In this channel, we interview CRM users to help you pick the right CRM. In this video, we speak with Nikos. Nikos is head of growth at a cybersecurity company, and they use both HubSpot and Salesforce. He explains why they need two CRMs, and he also goes into his honest take on Salesforce. If you're looking to upgrade your CRM or find a new CRM, please book a call with us. The link is down below in the description. Thank you, and here is the interview. Thanks, Nikos, for doing this again. Let's start with a quick introduction. Could you tell about yourself and your company?
Yeah, I'm Nikos Malekos, or you can find me online as Nick. And I'm the head of demand and growth here at Cyberbit. Cyberbit is a cybersecurity readiness platform. So we help cybersecurity teams train and be ready for real attacks. It offers a full cyber range. So pretty heavy software and education industry at the same time. And I'm here with taking care of everything performance and MarTech.
Perfect. And how big is the company, and how many Salesforce users?
So we're about a little over 150 people strong, and mostly it's the sales team and me who are the Salesforce user, along with some people between finance and legal. So I don't remember the full licenses, but it's around 20 people, I think.
And is Salesforce your main CRM in a company, or do you combine it with other marketing and CRM tools?
I will call Salesforce our source of truth. So it is the main CRM. It is where we trust data, but we use a combination of HubSpot for marketing, interfacing with Salesforce to keep the data connected across all instances.
And how come you are not trying to consolidate everything onto one platform? Like, why do you keep having these two CRMs?
From my experience, Salesforce is not great for marketing. It does have the tools, I haven't used them, but I'm more comfortable with HubSpot, especially the way the interface is with our WordPress website. And this helps marketing automate some of the tasks that we cannot automate with Salesforce. If we're using for Salesforce, it means a slower team, more complex. Of course, HubSpot and Salesforce, it's a complex system already, but it reduces some manual work.
Got it. So basically, you're struggling to make the marketing bit work on Salesforce, so you still have to keep HubSpot for that.
Yes.
And there is like a specific Salesforce product for that. Did you guys try that, or was this just like a decision to just go with
No. So I inherited last year that I came here this combination. Since then, I will say that it was a patchwork upon patchwork upon patchwork of work for more than 10 years. Essentially, our CRM needs just taking down and restructuring. And the only reason we haven't done that yet is because we acquired a company called Rangeforce, and they were also had the same setup, Salesforce and HubSpot. So the priority was merging the instances, which we just finished. And the next step is taking down most of the setup and rebuilding it, which is a very, very long project.
Got it. And so Salesforce and HubSpot, and do you have any experience with other CRMs before?
I use multiple CRMs or light CRMs, but you probably wouldn't know them. Like back in Levelworks, we started with Agile CRM, which is a needy smaller one. And then instead of a CRM, we moved to Customer.io, which is not exactly a CRM. Levelworks built its own internal system with Customer.io. Well, that was what most people were using, and I was supporting the sales that they decided to go into Pipedrive. So, different teams choosing different systems, and you need to have a central way of working. Just a note here is that usually the mess of a CRM or how well it's being done, it's a top-down decision. You need management that understand that this is a mess, and they cannot just go and say to every team, get whatever you want, or this for this, this for that. Usually this ends in disaster. You need something centralized, and you need to enforce it, unfortunately, and it's only top down.
Yeah, makes sense. And how would you compare Salesforce with other CRMs? Obviously, Salesforce is an object-based CRM compared to HubSpot, more like pipeline centric. What's your main take, Salesforce against different CRMs?
I can say Salesforce, I find it terrible, but it's terrible if you don't have the full RevOps team to work on it. It's
Hmm.
not bad if you have the know-how and the assistance, but if you don't have a full team running behind you, doing fixes and customization all the time, it becomes very expensive, very clunky, and very bad.
Hmm.
So I will say that the CRM is as bad as good or how you use it and what budget you have. I will prefer not to have it
Hmm.
than having it, but there are some good things that Salesforce has, like it's fully customizable and it solves a lot of other issues. So create some, solve some.
Totally. Let's dig in a little bit more into what's good and bad. Let's start with the bad since we kind of started with that. So one is just you really have to invest your resources in setting it up. That's just the nature also of an object-based CRM. Anything else
Yeah.
that you really dislike about it?
It's very difficult if you don't have good documentation to change a CRM, do small changes. Like right now, we know that something is going wrong and it broke multiple sequences, and we need to go back and fix it. You need someone to spend hours, understand the system, understand why one small field, let's say, blocks you from doing multiple things. So
Hmm.
these are some of the bad things. It's very big, it's very complex, and you need to have very good ownership and people working on it. If you don't, right now we are a bit low on hands because there are more priority projects.
Hmm.
So the migration took precedence. So some bugs, let's say, moving
Hmm.
on, have left, and they have to be another big project. So
Hmm.
this takes time and creates problems. But just to move on the good things on the other side, it's so customizable that it has managed to support a very complex sales process, enterprise process that includes finance approvals, legal approvals, documentations, contracts, which other CRMs will not even touch.
Yeah, that is the nature of an object-based CRM where you can really customize
Yes.
it to what you need. Just want to understand a bit more on heaviness on the documentation. So what's the impact of that? Like end of the day, what's the impact? Is it like just slower day-to-day usage, or are we speaking purely about onboarding a sales rep takes longer compared to other CRMs?
So
Uh,
let's say that there are objects that are not needed there. And
mhm,
because it has been changed over the years multiple times, people came and left, everyone was adding or removing things. There are things that need to be teared down.
mhm,
And if you tear down one thing, you don't know how it impacts. Like just an example, we fixed that there was a campaign that was named primary campaign, and there is a campaign object called first campaign that we
mhm,
thought it was the same. And we were looking
mhm,
for with our RevOps agency for a while to understand why a report was not showing the first source or the first campaign. Like we went to this event, we got these leads, it's there. Why it was not showing correctly? The
mhm,
answer was that there are two objects, the primary campaign and the first campaign, but they were different. They're not the same. So someone built a duplicate of the same idea in a different field,
mhm,
and we had to figure it out that one was unneeded. We need to rebuild the other, and we need to connect the right calculations.
mhm,
So this is pretty intensive. This is waste time in marketing right now, especially when you want to go fast. So this
mhm,
took us 2, 3 weeks to solve to have proper reporting
mhm.
and a lot of back and forth.
Got it. So the impact really is just the kind of consulting bill on that for your RevOps and then just the speed on day-to-day usage, correct?
Yeah, it's actual cost and actual speed, and
Hmm.
you need both to be much better right now in this environment in order to be
Hmm.
competitive.
So you're saying about what you like about Salesforce, it really supports your complex sales cycle. Anything else in
Yes.
particular in like day-to-day use you would say is powerful within Salesforce?
Another thing is that, sales the same problem. They don't like taking good notes on what they're doing.
Mhm.
But usually their email and their calendars have a pretty good story to say. So because we're on a full Microsoft ecosystem, just connecting Salesforce to their emails,
Mhm.
we even if a salesperson forgot to take a note or they have a scheduled call with someone, this help us automate the addition of the event. I think HubSpot can do it, but in a different way. So it's embedded in the Microsoft ecosystem. It was pretty easy to set up, very quick, and it helped us track and have more notes. You go back to a lead, a salesperson forgot to take some notes, but I don't need them. I don't need to ask them. I can go and see the email conversation.
And
So
speaking,
this playing with our tool set is
Mhm.
pretty good.
And speaking of HubSpot and how this specific setup compares to HubSpot, you might not know because you said you already inherited this setup. But what's the real limitations to be able to support the same exact sales process on HubSpot? Like, what do you see as some of the limitations?
The limitations is that it will not support the way finance and legal will want to see their documentation,
Hmm.
which that means that even if we moved into HubSpot, we'll need to have a third way in order to support the other departments.
Hmm.
You can set up the same reporting, but HubSpot is a bit clunky on how it builds reports.
Hmm.
And Salesforce has its own problems, like it doesn't connect between lead contact and opportunities. It breaks down a lot of information.
Hmm.
HubSpot has other difficulties in building reports that will not be very easy to be built for finance and legal that we need to finish an enterprise sales motion.
And if you were kind of rebuilding your company's sales stack from scratch, would you be still picking the same setup, or would you try to stick with just HubSpot or try to stick with just Salesforce? Like, what would be the main changes you would make?
I'm a very big believer in simplicity,
Hmm.
especially on marketing. So I
Hmm.
will be pushing to just keep HubSpot, simplify things, and trying to find some other ways. But moving away, it's much more difficult than rebuilding from zero.
And what's the general sentiment towards Salesforce from other departments, other people in the company? So, are people kind of tolerating it, or are they like, okay, this is amazing compared to what else is out there? Especially maybe the finance team you mentioned, and then also maybe the day-to-day sales managers doing the actual sales.
The agreement is that salespeople in Cyberbit like Salesforce, they like their customization, they like their process to make things easy if you build them for them. On the other hand, the Rangeforce guys that we onboarded when we merged the company, so a couple of our AEs come from Rangeforce, were using HubSpot. So they're using both of them. And they both have, again, its pros and cons. HubSpot has some templated emails that can very easily use to reach out their prospects. So one of the AEs was missing his scheduling through HubSpot and his templated emails. It was making his job much faster.
Hmm.
But then I still had to go and take notes on the Salesforce. While our team on Cyberbit for Salesforce, they like how everything is there for them, all the documentation, all the documents they need to sign, the NDAs, the offers, everything is there and they can build their offer for the clients.
Hmm.
So there are always pros and cons. If you go to rebuild it, you will probably need HubSpot plus either rebuild the salesperson on HubSpot or maybe use one or two extra tools or extra plugins on HubSpot to be built. It's a
Hmm.
lot of custom.
Makes sense. And what kind of company would you recommend to go fully with Salesforce? And what kind of company would you say go fully with HubSpot, especially if someone is listening who's kind of making this decision now and they're not sure where they fit in? Would you have any advice for them?
Normally, Salesforce is an enterprise tool. You need to have a big budget and you have to have a big agency support or at least an internal person. So if you can hire someone, one or two people to be database programming on Salesforce, or you have the budget for a 20K agency usually, you can do it with smaller ones, but you will need a lot of budget and very expensive agencies. An enterprise level company will be benefited by Salesforce and they can customize it to their needs. But I will argue that even them, they will not need it. I will still be a believer on HubSpot or even I would like to try some newer CRMs, for example, Atio or
Hmm.
similar ones. So CRM choice is not always, there is nothing that covers everything. You
Hmm.
go with something, but you have to know that it's scalable and it's customizable to your needs. If you want a lot of customizable, you have a lot of customizable needs and you have the budget, go for Salesforce. If you want to do anything, including marketing and sales, a smaller company, you want to go fast and you have the budget because HubSpot again is expensive. HubSpot can be your solution. So companies between 50 people to 500 people may be more benefited to have everyone on HubSpot. But if you're smaller than 100 people and you are limited on budget, probably I will recommend you look for other systems.
And what's your take on Attio? Do you think it's have you used it yet? And what's your perception of Attio currently?
I haven't used it, but I have some friends who swear by it. Like I have three agencies that are using it and they love it and they swear by it. Of course, if I understood correctly, you need to build almost everything from the beginning. So you need to be
Yeah.
a hustle founder to use Attio. It's not for companies who become too corporate and roles become disassociated.
Yeah, Attio is basically an object-based as well. Yeah, you do have to put in the work in figuring out the schema. You have to figure out these different things there. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Any final words you'd like to say?
I would say overall in MarTech, we have a very big MarTech ecosystem right now, and it becomes too complex. And I have seen it a lot of times when you try to grow, you use a lot of tools, you want this tool, this tool, these tools. The main thing when you're either choosing your CRM at any stage is that it fits your current ecosystem. There are CRMs that do not fit well in our ecosystems. And for example, Salesforce is very well connected with the Microsoft Teams Outlook ecosystem. But if you are on Gmail and Drive, I haven't seen that integration that much. So depending on what is your email, what is your files, what other tools, integrations your company is using, trying to simplify, see how smaller linear teams are working instead of seeing I want this and this and this, and
Mhm.
accept to lose some functionality to simplify things because this will allow you to go faster. And perfection usually adds cost, adds maintenance, and adds more work on top of it. And this slows your team and become less competitive. So it's better to lose functionality than go for the optimal solution.
Yeah, I agree. And usually I would say if you're not sure, maybe start with something that's custom because then you can adapt it as you go. But I think you bring another point to the table, which is start with something that fits with your existing ecosystem, how well it integrates with G Suite, with Outlook, with the tools you use, and then kind of how native it is with those tools. And that's also a way to look at this.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you so much for this, Nikos. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Bertrand.